Hey everyone, and welcome back. So, have you ever listened to a track, maybe just a guitar or a vocal, and thought, wow, that just sounds bigger,
Yeah.
more alive, somehow more present, but you can't really put your finger on why? It's not like an obvious echo or a heavy swirl. It's something subtle, almost invisible, right?
Yeah.
But it makes all the difference. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into a couple of legends known for exactly that kind of magic. The Roland Dimension D, the STD 320 rack unit.
The classic studio piece, yeah.
Exactly. And its little sibling, the Boss DC2 Dimension C pedal, these things, they aren't your typical chorus pedals, not at all.
Definitely carved their own niche.
They created what people lovingly call the invisible chorus. So our plan today is to unpack the story behind these, the history, the clever design.
Deceptively simple design, really.
Right. And their kind of surprising impact. We want to see how these units, which maybe flew under the radar at first, became these go-to tools for getting that huge elusive sound without, sounding affected.
Yeah, it's a fascinating journey. And it really starts back in 1979. You got to remember, Roland, through Boss, already had hits with the CE1, the CE2.
So those really popular swirly choruses.
Exactly. Those were everywhere, defined that chorus sound for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But then Roland comes out with the Dimension D-Rack unit, the
Right.
STD 320, and it's totally different.
Different how, though? What was the core idea, if not that swirl?
The core idea was subtlety, extreme subtlety almost. It wasn't about obvious modulation, that sort of warble you get with standard chorus. Instead, the Dimension D was designed to give you this incredibly smooth, spacious thickening. It makes things sound bigger, wider, adds depth.
But you don't immediately go, chorus.
Precisely. It was meant to be transparent hi-fi. You almost didn't notice it was on, but you definitely noticed when you turned it off. It just made the source sound better, more polished, more three-dimensional.
Okay, so it's less about adding a flavor and more about enhancing the core sound, making it just sit better in the mix.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. It was about spatial enhancement without coloration, and that made it incredibly versatile.
Right, because you mentioned earlier it wasn't just for guitars.
Oh, absolutely not. Studios use it on everything. Vocals, bass, keyboards, synth pads, even sometimes across drum buses or full mixes.
Wow, okay. So a real studio workhorse.
Definitely. And part of that appeal, beyond the sound, was the circuitry and, interestingly, its simplicity. Under the hood, the Dimension D was a stereo analog chorus. You'd use Bucket Brigade delay chips, BBDs.
Ah, the classic analog delay tech. Gives it that warmth, right?
Exactly. BBDs pass the signal along this chain of capacitors, creating this short, inherently warm kind of dark delay. That's key to the smooth modulation. No harsh digital artifacts. But the interface was the real stroke of genius, maybe, instead of knobs for rate and depth like every other chorus.
Yeah. What did it have?
Just 4 push buttons. That's it. Each button selected a different preset, a slightly different subtle variation of the effect.
4 buttons, no tweaking.
Nope. Set and forget. Which sounds limiting, but it became legendary. You just pushed a button and it sounded good, instantly. No fuss.
That is kind of brilliant. Takes the guesswork out. And then Boss, which is Roland's pedal company, they decided to bring that idea to guitarists' feet.
Yep. In 1985, they released the Boss DC2 Dimension C. The goal was basically to capture that Dimension D magic, those algorithms, in their standard compact pedal format.
And did it keep the button thing?
It did. Same deal. 4 push buttons, no knobs, pure simplicity again. And just like the rack unit, that fixed control scheme, it was part of the charm. Plus, players eventually figured out you could press combinations of buttons, so like button 1 and 3, or 2 and 4.
Oh, so you could get more than just the 4 sounds.
Exactly. There were these hidden modes, which added a bit more flexibility to its seemingly simple design. People love discovering those.
Okay, so you've got this amazing sound. First in the expensive rack, now in a pedal. You'd think the DC2 had flown off the shelves.
You would think so, wouldn't you? But that's not quite what happened. It's a bit of an underdog story, actually.
Really? It wasn't a hit.
Not initially, no. It wasn't a huge seller at all. Boss actually discontinued it in 1989, only about 4 years after it came out.
Wow. Why do you think that was? Too subtle for the time, maybe? The 80s had some pretty wild effects.
That's probably a big part of it, yeah. You had massive reverb, crazy flangers, super lush choruses. The Dimension C was maybe too understated for the mainstream vibe then.
Yeah.
Didn't scream effect.
But like a lot of things, people caught on eventually.
Oh, absolutely. Its reputation just grew and grew over time, kind of quietly at first. Players started rediscovering it, especially as they realized it was basically the Dimension D sound in a box.
Ah, the connection to the legendary rack unit became key.
Totally. Once people made that link, and his taste maybe shifted towards more nuanced sounds in the 90s and 2000s, the DC-2 became the pedal to get for that effect,
Yeah.
which, led to its prices on the used market going, well, pretty crazy. It became one of the most sought-after, most expensive vintage Boss pedals out there, from discontinued to cult classic.
A familiar story in the gear world. So, who were some of the artists or producers associated with this Dimension sound? Any big names jumped out?
Yeah, quite a few, known for really caring about their tone. Brian Eno was a big user of the Dimension D rack, especially for his ambient work. It was perfect for adding that space without clutter.
Makes sense for ambient.
Definitely. INXS used it quite a bit, apparently on guitars, but also vocal sometimes, giving things a sheen. Studio legends like Steely Dan, Talking Heads, they relied heavily on the Dimension D in the studio.
High standards there.
Absolutely. And then guitarists like John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, he's known for using the DC-2 pedal for subtle width and making parts feel bigger without obvious modulation. And beyond specific artists, you have to remember the producers in the 80s. The Dimension D rack became like a secret weapon.
Just sprinkling it on everything.
Pretty much. Vocals, keys, drums, you name it. Sometimes even running the whole mix through it very subtly just to get at that final polish and stereo spread. It wasn't an effect so much as a make it sound better box.
That's the invisible chorus idea perfectly illustrated, isn't it? It just enhances the recording itself.
Exactly. It doesn't sound processed. It just sounds wider, deeper, more professional.
Okay, so decades go by, the DC-2 is this rare, expensive vintage piece, but then Boss finally decided to bring it back.
Yes. Huge news in the pedal world back in 2018. They reissued the Dimension C as part of their premium Wazacraft line, the DC-2W.
Ah, the Wazacraft stuff. They really take care with those reissues.
They really do. And the anticipation for the DC-2W was massive. People had wanted a proper reissue for years.
So was it just a straight copy, or did they add anything new?
They actually did more than just copy it, which was smart. The DC-2W gives you both the original DC-2 pedal sound and the sound of the original SDD 320 Dimension D rack unit, the little switch.
Oh, that's cool. So you get both flavors.
Yeah. And they expanded the options. Instead of just the 4 buttons, the Waza version cleverly uses the same 4 buttons, but allows access to 8 variations in total across the 2 modes. So, more sonic options.
Nice. More flexibility.
And crucially, they added proper stereo inputs and outputs, which the original pedal didn't have, so you can run it in true stereo, which is huge for this kind of spatial effect.
That makes it way more useful for modern setups, studios, keyboard players.
Exactly. It was a really thoughtful reissue. It captured the magic, but made it more practical.
Yeah.
And yeah, people loved it. It's considered one of the best Waza releases.
It sounds like they really understood what made it special. Bringing back that elusive, bigger-than-life sound without messing it up, just making things sound better.
That's the essence of it. Pure and simple enhancement.
So wrapping this up, it feels like the Roland Dimension D and the Boss DC-2 really occupy this unique space in effects history, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Totally separate from the usual chorus crowd.
Yeah, they kind of prove that sometimes the biggest impact is the one you don't obviously hear, that focus on subtle depth, that stereo width, instead of, obvious modulation. It set a different kind of standard.
It really did. It showed the power of just making the source sound fundamentally bigger and more present. The elegance of subtlety,
Yeah, exactly. The invisible chorus really sums it up. It wasn't shouting for attention. It was just quietly making everything sound richer, more spacious.
A testament to clever design and understanding what musicians really need sometimes.
Which brings us to a final thought for you listening. In a world that often seems to value the loud, the dramatic, the obvious effect, maybe think about the invisible choruses in your own world. What are the subtle enhancements, the quiet improvements, maybe in your work, maybe just in life, that you might be overlooking?
Good question.
How often are the most powerful changes the ones that just weave themselves into the background, making everything else subtly better, rather than the ones making all the noise? Maybe it's worth considering the power of elegant subtlety. It could be that secret ingredient that just makes everything feel, well, more present, more right. Something to think about.